mode.
Good morning, Mortgage Coach community. We are so excited to have you on a great learning event today. As always, when we get together for these coaching calls, the focus is to come away from this conversation with something actionable, something you can do right now, something you can implement, something that will affect your bottom line today. I'm Joe Pator. I'm the president of Mortgage Coach. I really enjoy the opportunity to get the community together like this. I know many of you take the recording. You may even listen to it later on your iPhones or iPods. And I think the most important thing that we can do as advocates for your success is make sure that you understand how to benefit from the tools that you have access to. So number one, I don't know if all of you have done this. I know we've mentioned it. I know Dave mentions it a lot. But we are very heavily invested in sharing success tips and the community giving stories and feedback on effective videos in our Facebook community. So if you haven't liked the page, if you're not interacting or seeing the fact that even people are looking for lenders in different states to help out, this is a great place to be. Make sure you like the page. Today's guest is a longtime friend of the Mortgage Coach community, and truly, I think from the impact that many of you have had from his advice, from the ways that our videos have improved over time, it's undoubtable that Roberto Monaco has brought huge value and a voice to the industry around maximizing video and really rich presentations to make a difference for lenders. So, Roberto, we are just thrilled to have you here today.
Thanks, my buddy. I'm so excited to be here, too. Going to have a good time.
So I think what's most interesting about Roberto's content is that it's always something, there's pieces of it that as you take notes today, as you follow along with the presentation, that you are going to be able to absorb it and use it right away. And I just encourage you that, I know, again, a lot of you might minimize the screen. Don't do it. Roberto's put a lot of effort into the visuals to make sure that you can connect the dots. If you are here on this call, it's because you want to learn this information, you want to make a difference. Many of you, Roberto, I wanted to share this stat because you were with me when we first launched Video and Edge, and we have more than 251 gigabytes, 40-plus DVDs of people giving advice to consumers across the country. This grows by dozens of gigabytes every month. It's so impressive to see the adoption of video. So I congratulate all of you on this call. Many of you have done this. But Roberto, I'll tell you that many of even our most active members only use video some of the time. So part of what we want to reach today is the fact that video and the story behind these presentations makes such a difference. And gang, before I hand it over to Roberto, I just want to emphasize the importance of mobile. I think that all of you have heard our message over the last few months on how important the app is on utilizing your iPhones and iPads to communicate to consumers. The data just keeps coming out around how consumers are buying these devices. I've shown you guys this Google study, Gallus's Google study, dozens of times that consumers are shopping. 67% of the time that they have a device in front of them, they're using two devices, a computer and a phone, an iPad and a phone, to look at information. So they are shopping the mortgage. They are looking for answers to questions about being a new lending consumer, and they're utilizing these devices. So when you think about what you're going to do with Roberto's advice and what you're going to do with the app, you're going to reach consumers where they're most comfortable. Nobody likes sitting at their desk and looking at the internet and sitting in this uncomfortable position. People want to be on their couch, sitting back, consuming content where they're comfortable. And so that's what the Mortgage Coach app does. So if you haven't downloaded it or you haven't invested in leveraging an iPad, there's no better business investment than utilizing what your consumers are using to shop. And so when you're thinking of creating this as a success habit, and how are you going to leverage video and the mobile reach, the fact that you can literally reach through the screen and hug your consumer, you have to make this a new habit. And I want to mention to the branch managers and the corporate presidents on the call today, this is not only an area of concern from being effective to impacting consumers and conversion. There was just an article recently in the M report about the impact of Mortgage Coach Edge from a compliance standpoint. You've got hundreds, if not thousands, of originators in your organizations talking to consumers. Consistency is important. So when we're reaching out through these devices, when we can talk to 100 realtors and deliver value, or we can talk to of 500 consumers and deliver value, it becomes exponentially a bigger return for us. And one of the best ways to say, how do I take this app, how do I take this fact that I've got video and audio and these great presentations and reach the audience, is to talk to groups, to get a group of realtors or get some consumers together and really motivate them. So I just want to throw a quick poll question out to the organization, to the participants in the call right now. I want to ask the question of how many times do you do a group event? So how many times a year do you talk to large groups? And again, given your community, large group can be any number of things. Roberto, I turn to you to put some context around as we take a look at the results. Okay. So everyone, if you haven't voted yet, just bring it up. Again, this is probably something that many of you haven't done. You know you should. You've seen agendas and first-time homebuyer seminars and dozens of things that you can do, but we just want to know who on the call has made that jump. All right, thanks so much for voting. Roberto, any comments on these results?
Okay, so we have monthly 14%, 4 times per year. Okay, so the majority of people haven't spoke to groups yet. So great. I'm going to be addressing the 3 levels. I'm going to be addressing the people who are not speaking, the people who are speaking a little bit, and the people who are already speaking once a month to make sure we can maximize, because our clients that do combine video with speaking, they are producing some amazing numbers, and today I'm going to explain why, and I also want to teach you the how. I want to give you step-by-step in the demo presentation how to do it so that you can conquer marketplace.
Well, with that said, Roberto, let's get into it. So, okay. Gang, I'm going to turn over the screen sharing to Roberto now, and he's going to connect the dots on what we just talked about. I will tell everyone as we get started, so if you have an Android device, if you have an Android tablet, a Galaxy tablet, maybe a Galaxy S phone, I've gotten hundreds, probably close to 1,000 emails from folks who are not iPhone and iPad users that want the app. It's imminent at this point. We are betaing it with a number of organizations. Click Get It on the mortgagecoach.com homepage. Make sure you sign up for the pre-release of the Android app. Again, it's coming out very, very soon. So if you have one of these devices, make sure you let us know. So with that said, Roberto, you should now have the ability to control the screen. So it is all yours.
Yeah, show my screen. So let's see here if you guys can see my slides. Am I good?
We got it.
Okay. Well, before we start here, I was watching the Mortgage Coach mobile app yesterday, blown away by the app. And I love it because for me, as a consumer, Dave Savage emailed me, I click on the link, and I could easily on my iPhone see the video and the spreadsheet. So I think it's a phenomenal way, guys, to leverage everything else you're doing. And if you're not using the mobile app, if I were a loan officer for were, that's a must. It's a must because you can make it personal by telling your story, by telling your video. So it's a must to have. So let's talk about today a little bit about public speaking. Now, 2,000, I want you guys to write this number down, 2,400 years ago, okay? 2,400 years ago, in ancient Greece, public speaking was regarded by many to be one of the most important things that you could have. Why? Because at that time, we didn't have lawyers. They didn't have lawyers. So if you or your family were in trouble, guess what? You had to go in front of a counsel to represent your family. And sometimes you didn't do anything wrong, but they say, hey, you did something wrong, so now you've got to step up and speak. At that time, 2,400 years ago, speaking was a matter of life and death. Now, throughout history, if you were to stop and think with me, the biggest leaders, technology, in business, entertainment, politics, spiritual leaders, they have been using public speaking or speaking in front of groups to change culture, change ideas, change societies. If you think about it, if you were to think right now, the leaders that admire in your life, okay? The people, the role models, most likely speaking, and the future. So in the past, you know, speaker is important. In our society, you know, it's important. How about in the future? Well, if you think about technology now, and being the mobile app one of them, speaking is morphing into video, into webinars, into small group presentations. But I feel that speaking is going to be even more relevant, because the more social media evolves, the more, which is super powerful. I'm all about video marketing. I'm all about social media. The more human interaction people want to have. And at least for our clients in our business, we noticed that there's a trend of people getting together in masterminds, getting together in events, because we still, that part of our interaction, we're never going to go away. Now, for those who don't know me, I'm from Brazil. I have been speaking for 11 years now, and I came here from Brazil, no money, no connection, didn't know anybody, and one day I was reading a book, and I read a question that changed my life. The question said, if I could do anything in my life, and I knew I could not fail, what would I be doing today, right here, right now? So for 5 years, I knew the answer, but never stepped up because of fear. And the answer was, I want to become a mentor, a speaker, a coach, but never followed through because I was afraid. So if you're listening to me right now, and if you feel awkward, uncomfortable speaking, please, this call will change your life, because I was that person. I was afraid to communicate. Eventually, I started going to trainings and apply for a job for the Anthony Robbins companies. Most of you know the name. And I got a job, and my job was to do 400 presentations a year. Let me pause here. An average speaker does around 50 presentations a year. We were doing 400. And my job was to present and speak and sell Tony Robbins events. And I done probably thousands of real estate offices. So the idea of you going to speak in a real estate office or doing a mastermind event or speak to financial planners, I've done it. I've done over 3,200 live talks. And I don't say that to impress you. I'm just saying that I have a thick accent. I came here, couldn't speak the language. I was afraid. And now for 11 years, I have a really cool life that I think is cool, at least. I love what I do. And my number one tool is speaking, or say speaking and video. The two tools that I use all the time. So I want to inspire you, because I think that there's a huge opportunity for you. Now, here's one event that I did, Joe. I don't know if you remember that. That was like maybe 3 years ago. You see Dave there, Jeremy Forsyth, Joe, Kai. There's a bunch of guys from Mortgage Code, Ron Quintero. And we had a great time here. So that's when I got involved. I left Tony Robbins, opened up a company called Influencology. And since then, since the last 4 years, we have been teaching entrepreneurs, consumers, to get their message and communicate through speaking, through video, through webinars to acquire new clients. My first client ever in the mortgage industry was a guy named Steve Marshall, that I'm sure you guys heard it. When I was working for Tony, Steve hired me to go and help him out in Seattle. I went there twice. So since then, I work with several top producers and leaders in the mortgage industry. Now, I'm always thinking about, hey, how can I communicate my message better? Because beyond what I do, beyond Influencology, beyond my company, I am an advocate for speaking, which you guys should be an advocate for home ownership, beyond your company, beyond your commission. So I'm saying I want to communicate my message in a different way. Maybe I want to get more examples. So one day, I would say a month ago, I wrote this question on Facebook. I said, hey, I'm brainstorming content for a new presentation I'm putting together, and I'd like to know your input. Who do you think are the top marketing consultants in today's marketplace? Why I ask this question? Well, because big companies pay big bucks for marketing people, right? Marketing consultants are the ones who are game changers. So I want to say, okay, who do they think they are? And here's the 4 names that the people told me in my community. And you may recognize some of them. Dan Kennedy, Seth Godin, Frank Kern, and Gary Vaynerchuk, okay, who wrote the book Crush It. And then I'm like, okay. Then I pause and ask myself, isn't it interesting? The top marketing consultants, according to my audience, and you may have a different opinion, and if you do, that's okay, they all use speaking to grow their marketing consultant business. Why? So the question is why, and the answer to the why is the same reason why, as a loan officer, you should stop doing what you're doing for the next 40 minutes and pay attention, because why? Why? You're busy already. You're doing the videos. You have a great pipeline. Why should you devote some time to speak to groups? Okay? Why? Here's why. Number one, more leads. Every single time you open your mouth, something great is going to come out. I promise you. Speaking is the fastest, the most powerful way. In front of people, you have because online, if you have a video and you don't like in 8 seconds, what do you do? In 8 seconds or 5 seconds, you turn it off. When you have a captive audience, you have more than 8 seconds, right? So yeah, a way for you to engage it. So people use speaking, number one, reason to get leads. Number two, expert position. We all talk about being an expert, right? I'm gonna go deeper here. But ultimately, expert in your client's mind, not what you think about yourself, but in your client's mind, how they see you. And the third reason, a psychological shift, which, because I've been teaching public speaking for 11 years now, it happens over and over and over again, something clicks in your head, okay, in your mind, your identity, when you see yourself, when you expand who you are, you expand the vision. You're not just a loan officer, you're a loan officer and educator. You're not just a loan officer and a speaker. You're a loan officer and a trainer, right? And something happens. Now you don't have to speak, you want to speak. You don't have to, you want to. Here's the lesson, please write it down, friends. Write it down. It is not about public speaking, it's about public leading. It is not about public speaking. It's about public leading. It's about leadership, ultimately. It's about becoming a leader in your marketplace, a leader for the real estate community, a leader for financial planners, accountants, whatever your strategy is, and communicate that, because leaders communicate. Okay? So speaking is not just go and speak. Obviously, it's part of it. It's about leadership. Now, I want to throw some numbers here for you, just for you to see the size. Obviously, if you're a loan officer, you always want to be speaking for real estate offices. Or if the office is closed, you want to invite realtors to come to a mastermind group. Or you're going to have a real estate event in your community for investors. Or you're doing first-time home buyers. Or you're doing 2 or 3K events. Or you're doing VA workshops. Whatever is your gig, okay? There's a lot of opportunities. Some examples here. There's 11 million meetings that occur in America every single day. 11 million. You know what I know? All these people who are in the meetings, they either are renting a house or they're having a house. And if they rent a house, eventually they're going to buy one. They want to need a mortgage. And if they have a house, eventually they want to know if they're they have the right type of mortgage. So you have. I want to expand your mindset, because not only readers, it's about consumers. That's why I love about the mobile app too. It's about communicating consumers, speaking too. I want to inspire you to have 1 or 2 good presentations and go out there and communicate your message, leadership. Now, Roberto, this is great. No, speaking was a powerful tool in the past. Now in the future, I know there's a lot of opportunities for me to speak, but what if I don't want to do it? Now, I'll never tell you, ever, that you won't be successful, because if you're part of the mortgage coach community, you already are successful, right? And 54% of you are not using speaking, so obviously, you can be very successful without public speaking. I get it, okay? Now, but here's the question that I posed to several audiences. I asked this question: how many of you know the guy on the right, John Grinder? And people like, oh, I don't know, never heard about it, okay? And then I asked this question: how many of you know or heard or know who is the guy in the left? Oh, people say Tony Robbins, right? And here's what I tell them. I say, look, did you know that John Grinder was the guy who developed neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and the guy in the left was the one who communicated? So the guy on the right developed. The guy on the left communicated. Which one made the most money? Which one created the most impact? Which one really leveraged the business? The guy on the left. But why are you saying that? By the way, both men are tremendous, amazing guys, right? Why I'm saying is that because I've been working with loan officers for 11 years now, and I know that you have this expertise syndrome. Oh, Roberto, I've been a loan officer for 20 years, 30 years, 15 years, know my business. But it's not about how long of the business, it's how well you're communicating your message, using the video, using the mobile app, using speaking. It's about communicating. Listen, Dr. Phil is not the best psychiatrist out there, but he's the highest paid. Why? Because he's communicating. I can point out 30, 40, 50 doctors who are smarter than them in Harvard. But they're in a classroom with 20 people. And I'm saying is go out there and really today make a realization like, look, I'm a leader and I'm going to communicate my voice. Now, I want to spend the next 30 minutes here talk about the 5 areas or 5 pillars that you have to know to use speaking today, not next week, today. Now, these 5 pillars I developed based on the 5 biggest problems that people have. Okay. Now, if you're going to write it down real quick, I don't have a slide for it. Number 1 problem, fear of speaking. Number 2 problem, lack of presentation structure, organization. Problem number 3, presentation delivery. People, they have a very bad delivery skills, monotone, no energy. Problem number 4, they lack influence, which means they do events, they go and speak, but they cannot convert. And number 5, they don't do it. They don't take action. They understand speaking. They know how speaking can help them out, but they don't implement it. So what you're going to learn the next 30 minutes here is exactly the system that I teach in a 3-day event. I'm going to compress here and give you the next 28 minutes. Number 1, write it down. You got to have this. You got to have a strong psychology to overcome fear so that we speak with confidence in front of one person, 5, 10, 50, 100. Now, Roberto, how do you do that? Well, in our events, we teach 8 strategies. Let me give you one who is super powerful here. Every time you're communicating to a realtor, consumer, financial planner, accountant, it's all about moving them from point A to point B. Point A, where they are. Point B, where they really want to be. For example, consumer, they don't have a loan, they want to get a loan. Or they have a loan, they're paying 8%, they want to get a loan and pay 3%, whatever the deal is. Right? So it's every time you communicate, it's always about moving from point A to point B. So Roberto, if that's true, why some people are afraid? Why they have fear? I call Funda, F-U-N-D-A, F-U-N-D-A, Funda, fear, uncertainty, nervousness, down anxiety. Why? Because they have this spotlight on them. They make a whole presentation on them. How do I look? How do I sound? It's about me. And as long as you make speaking or communication about you, you're always going to feel fear, uncertainty, nervousness, down anxiety. You always. And the whole key, friends, is to change that and make the focus of communication 100% of an audience. So when you're communicating to consumers, it's about moving them from point A to point B. When you're communicating for realtors, it's about moving point A to point B. When you're communicating for financial planners or military families, if you're doing VA loans, 2 or 3K loans, right? Or if you have a construction niche, your job is to move them from point A to point B. And if your focus, your stories, your content is all about the audience, you see this picture? You're not there. You're not the spotlight. And if you're not in the spotlight, why should you be afraid? There's no reason. So if you ever were invited to speak in a real estate convention, a mastermind group, in a real estate office, and you said no, and deep down you're afraid, it's because you made the whole thing about you. So you know what to do it. Say, hey, I have a message. You have amazing tools from Mortgage Coach. You can use the Edge, you have those reports, you have all these tools that you can use. You have the mobile app now. So you go in and say, you have something for value for them, and you go in to show them because it's never ultimately about you. Now, here's one of my buddies. I hope Brent Sute is listening to us. Great guy, great loan officer, and he came to our class. And he said, here's an email that he said one time. He said, Roberto, thanks, I'm no longer afraid of public speaking. Why? Why? Because the whole idea was focus to help him, focus to change. When you focus on changing your audience, really is a powerful transformation experience. Now, I obviously have more tools, but I want to be respectful here. I have 25 minutes left, so I want to make sure we cover that. So remember I told you there's 5 pillars, right? The first one was psychology. Got to have your mind straight. When you communicate, it's all about serving your audience. Number 2, delivery. Roberto, why delivery is important in speaking? It's almost like ordering a pizza. I want you guys to imagine your favorite pizza, and you're excited, and you have this date with your loved one, and then you order the pizza, and it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, like, where's my favorite pizza place? And then a pizza come late, 2 hours late, and it's cold. What happens? Well, it's the same content, right? Same pizza, but delivery was off. It's cold now. What happens? Not good experience. Now the same thing here, you can have great tools, great ideas, but if it's too boring, if you don't have energy, if you lack energy, if you're not having fun speaking, you can have great content. I create an analogy here, the pizza, but your delivery is off, or the pizza is cold, so it's not good. Now when it comes to delivery, there's a lot of tools as well. Obviously, I just want to give you one that you guys can use here. That was one of the biggest mistakes that I did. When I started my career speaking 11 years ago, because I started working for Tony Robbins, I thought, you know what, I want to be this motivation. I want to work for Tony Robbins, the motivation speaker. Therefore, I got to be all fired up. And one of my mistakes that I did, and please don't do that, I used to show up in these rooms and blast energy, like literally blast. And I learned that the moment I start blasting energy, half the room was gone. They'll be like, I don't like this guy. And now I've got to work really hard to establish rapport with my audience. So here's what I want you guys to do. When you're speaking, by the way, that works for one-on-one as well, when you're doing one-on-one. You always want to become aware of the energy level of the people. If they're level 10, you got to be level 10. If they're level 5, you got to be level 5. If you're level 3, you got to be level 3. Now, I'm going to give you like a little silly example here. One time I spoke for Mary Kay, the cosmetic company, and I walk in this room, 200 girls jumping, music blasting. They were rocking, right? So now guess what? They're level 10. I can be on level 8 or 7 because now they'll be like, this guy is not powerful. So I got to put myself, my psychology up level 10. So if they're level 10, you got to be level 10. Now what happens, Roberto, if they're level 2? Then you go level 2. You always want to match the energy level in the beginning of a presentation. Now, in the middle of a presentation is different. If you look at any speaker who is not effective, the presentation looks like a train track. It's flat. Even the video is flat. And you want to make sure your presentation looks like a roller coaster, up and down, and you tell a story, and you pause, and you speak a little bit slower. Right? And you want to have this fluctuation because a roller coaster ride is like, what's going to happen? And that's a good metaphor here for a presentation. And then in a close when you're presenting, and here's really important, even though I see that on video, a lot of you do use Mortgage Coach and the Edge for your videos. You got to be very careful. A lot of people have unconscious limiting beliefs about presenting, about speaking, about asking for an order. At one time, I hired this guy, and he was a theology professor for many years. Amazing speaker, amazing. Okay? And then I gave him a script, and he was speaking very well, but he wasn't converting. So I actually went to the field and watched his presentations, and I noticed that throughout the whole talk was exactly what I told you, a roller coaster. Tell a story, ask questions, engage audience, speak faster, slower, change voice, like, this guy is good. But what happens that in the end of a talk, he energy drop. And I'm like, what's wrong? So then I realized is that he had unconscious beliefs about giving a recommendation for people because people feel uncomfortable about asking for the order. So what's the point here? I don't want you to have a lot of energy or fake energy when you close the presentation, but make sure you're aware that you're excited about it, your idea. Because here's what I want you guys to think about it. I guarantee you, if you were to look at the last public speaking group presentation you gave in your career, the last one, I guarantee you the last or the part that you worked the least of in your talk was in your close. The part that you spent last time rehearsing was in your close. The part that you gave last attention was in your close. And that's like across the board. So make sure you feel good. I'm not saying over the board crazy, but just as if you're having fun, make sure when it comes to ask for the money, ask for the order, recommend something, recommend a loan, or recommend a partnership with a real estate agent, you feel good about it. All right? So, recap here. What we talk about so far? Well, we talk about that in speaking you need 5 pillars, right? And these pillars address the 5 biggest problems people have with speaking. Number 1, psychology. Talk about focus. Focus on your audience. Don't focus on you. Number 2, talk about delivery. And the strategy I shared with you today was energy. When you speak in the beginning, you match the energy. In the middle, should be a roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down. And your close, you make sure you're certain and you're having fun. Not over the board, but just at least you're having fun. Now, Roberto, how do you organize talks? Now, in the past, when I did presentations for mortgage coach community, I had one presentation formula, which I still use. But obviously, I come here, I want to give something new to you guys. So I'm going to actually, if you enjoyed this presentation that I'm giving today, this presentation I developed based on the structure I'm about to give you right now. So basically say, oh, I like this presentation Roberto gave, so now you know how to do it. The same one for your business. Why? Because I'm going to share with you exactly what I did. Now, this strategy saved me years and years and years and years and years. Now, one of the biggest problems people have in speaking, presenting, they take way too much, okay? Way too much time. And, for example, if you take way too much time preparing, you're not going to do it. So, Roberto, I have my pipeline, I have these loans, I have to sign these docs, I got a meeting with a realtor, a consumer. I don't have 10 hours a week to prepare. I don't have either. So this strategy, not only I used to brainstorm content, but I used to present. And today, this webinar, I'm following exactly the same formula here. So write it down, guys. This is important. You have a topic. By the way, when I develop my talks, what I do, I literally get a whiteboard, and I write a topic, for example, video marketing, or public speaking, or leadership, or story selling. I literally, and I go, what, why, how, why not, what if you don't, what if you do, what's next? And then I start brainstorming. And I have all these questions that I ask. And then I walk away, I come back. Now I can get the content and put in another presentation structure that I use. Or if I don't have time, I can use the same structure. Now, I've been to several real estate offices, and to speak for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, all I did, I pull my whiteboard, and realtors want to know about video marketing, and say, no problem. I just wrote video marketing in my whiteboard, and I go, let me tell what it is. Let me tell what's important to you. Let me tell how we do it. Let me tell why most realtors don't do it. Let me tell you what's the danger, cost, and consequences if you don't do it. Let me tell you what's going to happen when you do it, and what's next. That's it. And people are just blown away. So what here, this is based on learning styles, on how people learn information. Every time you communicate to a group of people, by the way, that works. This rule applies to video, webinars, any group communication. A percentage of your audience is the what person. They want to know the numbers, the stats, the statistics, the background. It's called the what person. Some people, or some part of your audience, they don't care about the what, they care about the why. No, Roberto, I don't like the statistics thing or the research. Why should I care? Okay, really, what's in it for me? Now, some people in your audience, they don't care about the what, the why. They just, okay, Roberto, I want to do it. Let me jump in. How do you do it? That's kind of like me, Roberto. I'm a how guy. So if you try to tell me the what and the why, I'll be like, okay, whatever. But how? Let me do it. Let me jump in. Sometimes I'm doing stuff I don't know why I'm doing, but I'm doing. Right? Why not is the objections. Why some people are not doing, are not implementing the idea. What if you don't is what's the danger, cost, and consequences for the audience if they don't work with you, if they don't follow a proposal. What if you do is how is their life transformed after they are using your product or service, and what's next is your call to action. So I actually developed this presentation, this webinar for you guys using this formula. So let's talk about what. Remember, so I wrote public speaking. So what is what? Well, 2,400 years. I gave it the meeting stats. Remember, I have statistics about how many meetings we have. I talk about the top people in every industry using speaking. So that was the what for some of you. I also talk about the why. Remember, I told why should you care about public speaking, why other people using. So I gave it 3 reasons, right? Lead generation, expert positioning, a mindset shift, meaning that now you become an influencer. Then what I did, I talk about why not, why people don't do it. Remember that I said in my talk that I have 5 pillars, and these 5 pillars were born with 5 challenges, and I described the 5 challenges for you, which was fear, lack of structure, poor delivery, lack of influence, and lack of implementation. Then I went on to talk about what if we don't do it. Remember? I used the analogy between Tony Robbins and John Grinder. One developed an idea, the other one communicated. The one who makes the most money and impact was the one who communicated. And I was inspiring you to communicate your message. Then here's the how, right? So Roberto, here's the how part. I already talk about psychology. I already talk about delivery, and I'm talking about structure right now. I'm in the middle of a presentation. Then I have a story for you, what's going to happen when you use the speaking, and then there's a recommendation, what's next. So you see, using this formula, I use this formula, guys, impromptu, and a couple guys, loan officers came to my last class here, and I taught them, if you go to a real estate meeting, and someone asks you to speak, hey, can you come here and speak about 2 or 3K loans? All you do, literally, you get a whiteboard and you write down 2 or 3K loans. So let me tell you what it is. Why is it important to you as a realtor? Why most realtors don't use 2 or 3K loans? What's going to happen if you don't offer to your consumers? How do you use 2 or 3K loans? So now the loan officer has a process. What's going to happen if you do 2 or 3K loans? Then the guy is telling some stories about him working with realtors, and the realtors are offering 2 or 3K loans for the consumers. And what's next? What the loan officer in that case was getting an appointment with the consumer. So it's a killer tool. I still use today. I'm using, as we speak, in this strategy. So I hope you guys enjoy this. One of my clients, he's the #1 guy in America for insurance, called captive insurance. Basically, when your company is big enough, you can write your own insurance. So I share the same strategy for him, the why, this formula. And one day he had 2 events the same day, two events, speaking gigs in this convention. So he said, you know what, I want to try Roberto's stuff out. So the first speaking, he used my formula, the one I gave you, and the second one, just no formula. And the evaluation came back, and when it came back, the first speaking gig, he got 4.2 out of 5, and the second one he got 2. Right? And he loved so much that he wrote the beginning of this book using this formula. Now, write it down, guys. I don't have a slide for this, but write it down. Structure will give you freedom. Structure will give you freedom. When you are communicating using structure, you don't have to think about what you're going to say, right? Because the information flows through you. Because the structure allows you to be creative. Now, let me get a sip of water here. Now, so we talk about influence. We talk about mindset. Okay, first pillar to help us speak with confidence. We talk about presentation delivery. We talk about energy, right? Energy level in the beginning, the middle, the end of your talk. We also talk about structure. So this point on, by the way, if you're doing a webinar, if you're going to brainstorm content for next video, that's a great tool. I use that a lot. Now, Roberto, how about influence? Now, there's a lot of influence strategy we teach. I wish we had more time, but I want to give you just one real quick that you have to have it. By the way, when you're doing those edge videos, and I know when it comes to video marketing, the shorter the better, obviously. Video marketing, you don't want to try to go over 3 minutes, and sometimes you have to, but maximum 5. But something that I'm really big into it, if you guys follow my work, is storytelling, story selling. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but story selling is critical. Remember the Trojan horse? The Trojan and the Greeks are fighting, and the Greeks were losing. And they say, you know what? They built up this wooden horse. They left outside the Trojan gates, the city, and they sail away. The Trojans like, hey, we won the war. The Greeks left a gift for us. Opened up the gates, brought the horse in, and in the middle of the night, the Greek army was hidden inside the horse. Opened up, I left the horse, ended up conquering the town. Story selling works just like that. You tell a story, your clients go, oh, it's just a story. But underneath the story has a persuasive message that goes straight into clients' minds, hearts, and souls. Now, when you tell a story, you have a couple options. Tell a story and you tell your point, or you tell your point and you give it a story. Now, I wanna wrap up our webinar here. I have 10 more minutes here, and I want to inspire you to take action. I want to inspire you to speak, because I know if there's something that is bulletproof, that there's no failing in speaking. Why? Because you're going to be positioning yourself as a leader. You're going to become better, because you have to. Now you have to learn your content better, and you're going to be in front of people, so you make more money. So understanding speaking and doing it is different. I don't want to make sure you guys understand. I want to make sure you actually guys do it. So I want to inspire you to adopt this belief. The belief that I have is you have to say yes to presentation opportunities. Back in 2010, I received a phone call from Mortgage Revolution, and was an event that they did for the mortgage. Maybe some of you are listening to me right now, you're there. And they invite me, say, Roberto, you want to come to speak in Atlanta? I say, yeah, would love to. And they go, look, I live in San Diego, so I got a flight from San Diego to Atlanta. What's your budget? They go, oh, Roberto, we have no budget. It's a free event. It's like, really? Yep. It's a non-profit event. Are you paying for my airfare? No. My hotel? No. Can I promote my services? No. So say, are you saying that I'm going to take 1 day, fly in San Diego to Atlanta, speak in Atlanta, come back a day, so it's 3 days flying, no speaking fee, and I cannot I have to pay my hotel, my airfare, I cannot sell or promote my stuff? Yep. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. That's crazy. But then I'm like, I have a belief that I teach my clients this. I always say yes to presentation opportunities. So I'm like, you know what? My gut feeling, I'm going to do it. So I did. That actually is a picture from the event. Right after, a couple of guys came to me and said, Roberto, that was an amazing event. Can you do a webinar for my group? I say, yes. And we did a webinar for this group. And within 5 minutes, I sold out my next speaking class. But the story doesn't end there, because now the same group, Mortgage Revolution, said, Roberto, would you like to speak for San Francisco? And I said, what? Yes. And I went and spoke for San Francisco. We got some clients there. And now I met a gentleman named Chris Bates who owned a software company called Property Sites. He goes, Roberto, can you do a presentation for my group, 150 people, with a paid event? I said, what, guys? I said, yes. The story doesn't end there, because now through all these events that I did, I met a very nice lady, Karen Dice, who invited me to speak for her group. I spoke there. We got some clients. The story doesn't end there, because now I was invited to do a 3-day event in Florida, and we spoke, we got paid. But the story doesn't end there, because now Frank and Brian, I'm sure some of you know, the video marketing guys, they do on real estate and mortgage. We did an event in Dallas, but the story doesn't end there. Now, throughout all this speaking, someone saw my speaking and said, Roberto, I work for Micro International. We install air conditioning in buildings. We're a multinational company. We need a speaker to do 5 keynotes to pay very well. Would you like to speak? I said yes, but the story doesn't end there, because now I was hired to speak for the Eastern Mortgage Summit. And now, because I was doing all these events, people keep coming to my class. And now the original Mortgage Revolution, they changed their name, and they have a new event called Mortgage Tech Summit, which was February. I spoke there, and that which led me to another paid gig, California Mortgage Association, that I did in February, and another one in Napa Valley for the California Association of Business Brokers, people buy and sell business. It was a paid event too. And I just spoke for camp here in San Diego. Now, Roberto, okay, I got a point, right? Why? Here's why. Because you are one presentation away from change your life. Just one. All you need is just one. You don't need 5, 10, 20, just one. Remember I told you back in Atlanta, I didn't want to go? San Diego, Atlanta for free? That's crazy. That talk changed my life. Obviously, I haven't included here how many coaching clients and all this stuff, all the presentations to save time here. But I want you to walk away from this webinar, okay? If you want to walk away with something, one thing is this. You are one video, one presentation away from change your life for better forever. Forever. So that's why when you say, Roberto, how big gotta be the group? I don't know. Might be 3 realtors. Might be 5. Might be 50. I don't know. But you gotta have this attitude. And you know, like, I have to speak. I want to speak. Why? Because it's just like one presentation away. So I hope that was inspirational for you. So we talk about what, guys? I'm going to recap here. There's 5 challenges and 5 solutions. We talk about speaking with confidence, focus on audience. We spoke about presentation delivery, have energy in the beginning, middle, and end. We talk about presentation structure, how to organize your talks. We talk about influence, how to include the story. You see that story that I included for you? Because I want to prove the point for you that one presentation can change your life. Right? And now the last piece is execution. So here's the steps that I encourage our clients to follow, and I follow. Number 1, for those who want to do speaking, you identify your audience. Now, some of you will be speaking for realtors, some consumers, some financial planners. I have clients who speak for VA families. Some speak for, they do 2 or 3K loans. I have clients who speak for construction people. So depends. Okay, but you gotta have it. Number 2, you learn their problems, obviously, because otherwise they're not gonna come to your talk. Number 3, develop a system, and the system is what's gonna happen after is a consultation, is your mortgage process. is how you help clients, how you help realtors, how you help consumers, how you help financial planners. And then you create a presentation, 45 minutes. Roberto, why 45 minutes? Well, because the way I teach presentation is chunking. So if you have a good 45-minute talk, you can do webinars. And if you have a real estate office, for example, to say, well, I'm going to give you only 15 minutes. No problem. At least you have the content done. So I encourage you guys to have a presentation done, 45 minutes. And all we need is one. You don't need 100, just a good one. Then you're going to be able to market your talk, a little bio, right? Picture, a little bio, a flyer, recommend to engage on video marketing, and then you're good. Then you proactively book speaking gigs. Every person that you talk to in your network, realtors, you say, hey, remember the statistics I share with you that they have like, I don't know, thousands of sales meetings every day? You say, hey, do you participate in any networking events? Do you go to any mastermind clubs? Do you go to, how often does a company have sales meetings, right? And I'm telling you, every person will be like, well, I have a sales meeting here. I go to this networking event here. I belong to the Chamber of Commerce. And then you ask, what has to happen for me to speak in your group? Who is the person I should talk to? And that's it. And then you call that person, email your stuff. Some going to say yes, some going to say no, and you're good. Right? Now, for you as a loan officer, for real estate offices, you can do lunch and learns. You can do masterminds. You can do real estate events in the community. There's so many real estate events, okay? And then you present, you educate and enroll. Got to have enroll. You always close for an offer. I love Dave Savage this morning was educating me more about the mobile app. The mobile app is such a cool strategy that's one more plus to get realtors to go and talk to you. So make sure you incorporating that in your speaking. And then I always ask for photos. And now here's the beauty about it that people don't do. Once I have a presentation ready, I get pieces of a presentation, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Now I have stories for my videos. I have stories for webinars. I can use a system called speechpad.com. If you have a 45-minute talk, you record it, you upload it. It's going to cost you $45. Now you have like an ebook. You have like content for your blog, for a special report. So it's just a phenomenal tool to market yourself to your clients. Now, I want to spend 2 minutes here for those, obviously, if you believe that speaking can help you out. We have a class. I've been doing this class for 4 years. I'm very proud of it. That's the best work we've done so far. And let me tell what it is. We limit our class to 20 people. Roberto, why would you do that? That's not smart, right? Well, it's smart for my attendees. I've done the big events. I participate. I speak at them. 1,000 people, 2,000 people. I've done it, and they're great. But when it comes to speaking, you don't have to understand speaking. You have to speak. So what's great about this class is that people go from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We cover the 5 areas that I told you, the psychology, structure, delivery, influence, and help you get gigs. But the most important part of this class is this. On Sunday, everybody speaks for 15 minutes. So people, the last class that I had 7 loan officers develop presentations about 203K loans, about VA loans. It's really cool. And the reason we do that, by the time you're done with the event, I want to make sure you have a killer, awesome talk ready to go. Fear is gone. Your delivery is awesome. You become an influential, persuasive communicator. And you have a presentation ready. That's why we do it. And throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we go long hours. I always tell my clients, don't plan to come to San Diego to party because it's going to be Friday is from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. And then Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, 8 to 5. And if you're interested, the next class is August 9th. We already have 9 people registered, so we still have 11 places available for the next class. And if you go to the web, you can find all the information there. There's several top producers. One is the lady here in this picture, Dixie Sander. Her best year, she closed 800, I believe, in 41 loans. She's out of Dallas, came to a class. And this one, the picture from the last, I have like 8 loan officers actually, not 7, 8 loan officers. That's the class she did last month. So awesome. And by the way, online, guys, is $9.97 for our class. If we have a coupon today, so anytime today you can use it. You just, for mortgage coach, for Joe and Dave, for being so supportive of my work. So you can save $200 off. So go in and just type it up on the shopping cart MC if you decide to join us. And you get $200 off in your class, tuition $697. So I'm pause here, And I want to open up for questions. I have 41 minutes, so here we go. Joe, the community has any
Roberto,
questions?
I mean,
Yes.
thank you so much. That was a phenomenal synopsis of such content that you usually deliver over much more than an hour. I think there's so much that's actionable in what you shared. So to the group that's tuned in that can spend a few more minutes, you all know how GoToMeeting works. You can type a question into GoToMeeting. You can also click the button that indicates raising of your hand. You can raise your hand right now, and certainly you can ask Roberto a question directly. So
Yeah, any questions for me? I'd love to help.
Yeah, let's give everyone a quick minute to post a question or raise their hand. In the meantime, Roberto, I'm going to quickly grab the screen from you for just a second. And I just want to reinforce to everybody to really think about the impact of what we're talking about and the communication that you can provide by really embracing the concept of public speaking and reaching out to consumers and realtors in a more dynamic manner. As a refinance market that we're in really changes, we have to ask ourselves, are we bringing new purchase business in every week? Are we identifying consumers that are thinking of us from a shopping mentality and switching their perspective of us to that of an advisor? And so I think the most important thing from what Roberto emphasized is doing something about it today. So taking the first step of, I'm going to get 5 realtors, I'm going to make that presentation that could change your life and that could really impact your production. I want to make sure that you all know as well, I mentioned how the mobile app addresses compliance. We mentioned how we have new integrations at Mortgage Coach. We even have integrations for those of you who may be using Encompass to push and pull information from the system. So if you have questions about how Mortgage Coach works for groups, how Mortgage Coach works for, in cases of audits, and how you can pull reports and you can look at different information about the presentations that you provide, just reach out to me. I'm Joe at mortgagecoach.com. I want to make sure that all the leaders on this call have that opportunity at their fingertips to engage in that conversation. And Roberto, I cannot emphasize enough the quality of the content that you always provide and from what I've heard about your most recent events. So thank you for extending some savings to the Mortgage Coach community to attend that event. Gang, I hope some of you take advantage of visiting with Roberto in August and really learning how to put the activities that he talks about into practice. There's nothing that creates a better learning environment than putting your head down, focusing on the content, eliminating distractions, and just absorbing it. 48 hours with Roberto can indeed change your production levels, no doubt. So with that said, Roberto, I am looking at the questions here, and let's see. So if you folks would like to have a look at the transcription website, can you reference that website again?
Oh, yeah. It's called Speech Pad. Like speech, S-P-E-E-C-H, pad, P-A-D. I use that, guys, for, what it is basically, I know there's some softwares out there, but that's like, this is someone transcribing, and I pay $1 a minute, and the transcription is really killer. So let's say you have an hour talk and you get your iPhone. It doesn't have to be video, it could be MP3. You just record it, upload it. Takes 2 days, and you have a killer transcription, word by word. And let me tell you, if they can understand my accent, they want to be able to understand you too. So it's an awesome tool, speechpad.com.
But that's great. Thank you, Roberto, for that. And another question comes, a lot of the folks are referencing having not done the group presentations. More than 50% you polled in the beginning of the presentation, hadn't done a group. So you showed a lot of pictures of you in large groups and getting invited, but that can, what would you suggest to somebody that's never done it, Roberto?
Well, the never done it, so I would say number one, you get this, watch this recording again in the end. You got to have a presentation. Presentation must be relevant to your audience. Now, I want you guys to look at your network now and ask real estate agents. Okay, either A, you can speak to their office, and if their office is closed, you say, you know what? Bring 5 agents into your office. Talk about mobile app. Talk about mobile marketing. Talk about a better way to get consumers. The whole idea is to start. Listen, when I start my career, I was speaking for 3 people, 2 people, right? Because here's something that I want a loan officer to understand. The average loan officer, okay, I'm sorry, the average realtor is approximately $25,000 for you in income a year, a good one, right? Not the best one. So you don't need 100, you don't need 200, okay? So do the small groups. Speak for 5 people, 10 people. Chamber of Commerce, mastermind groups. Type it up. Real estate events in your area. You're going to find, call them up, say, hey, I have a presentation that I'd like to speak for investors. There's so many speaking opportunities. What we need is a message, a presentation, and then the awareness that every person that you talk to, every person, is an opportunity for you to communicate your message. If you want to talk about credit, if you want to talk about mortgage, if you want to talk about real estate investment community, you've got to find your message, obviously. But I'm telling you is that all these businesses, audiences, people are renting house or they have a house, and potentially they're your clients. So my advice for you is to arrange your first presentation. It doesn't have to be 300 people. It can be 4 people. It could be 3 people, right? So that's my advice.
So that's great, Roberto. Another question comes from your initial slide when you referred to such thing as too much prep. So the question is, how much prep should you put into creating a one-to-one video? How much should you worry about video?
Now, if you're doing a one-on-one video, I think it has to do with your level of your communication level. Some people, they're just starting out, so obviously they have a harder time communicating through video. Now, I like to, here's an advice for you. When you're communicating, record a one-on-one video, get a piece of paper. You don't write word by word. You just don't write, because if you're trying to write a script for a one-person video, you're going to get confused. But write just the outline. I'm going to open up. I'm going to say his name. I'm going to say these 3 points. I'm going to show this graph, and I'm out. Every video that I do, I have a quick outline, which is not a script. A script is word by word. Outline are just my thoughts. And then sometimes I literally get my camera, I record 1 take is good. Sometimes 2 or 3 takes, and that's good. But what I noticed in my career, and if you go to our YouTube channel, you're going to see hundreds of videos. There's no such thing as a perfect video. There's no such thing. And so many people want to be perfect, and therefore they never record it. So I would say how much time has to do with your capacity to communicate, and try to, before you record a video, you write down a outline, quick outline, and you get your camera. Don't use teleprompter, and you do it 1, 2, or 3 takes, and you're done.
That's absolutely great feedback, Roberto. So hey, we have time for one more question, and it is about the event. So, and I want to just add a little bit to the question, because the initial question is, what are we going to come away from if we attend the event? Well, okay. I want to add to the question, Roberto, that it's a big ask for originators who are coming off a hot refinance market, who have been in many cases working harder or longer hours than ever, and now 3 days away from home, and for many of the members here on this line are East Coasters, so a 4-hour flight. So what are we going to give the folks here for getting out of that event?
Love that. Okay, so here's what I get out. Number 1, you're going to be able to be a persuasive communicator for the rest of your life, regardless of the content. If you're in front of 1 person, 5 people, 20 people, you're going to have the confidence that you can speak and move people into action, number 1. Number 2, you're going to walk away with a presentation that I'm going to personally coach you so that you can turn around the Monday after our event and speak through video, through webinars, through live speaking, a presentation that is ready to rock and roll. Number 3, you're going to learn different ways to create different, because video presentation is one way, public speaking is a different way, even though they have the same foundation. You're gonna be able to achieve something that I call presentation flexibility, which is presenting different ways using different mediums. I feel that if you believe that speaking or presenting is a big part of your business, then this program will 100% impact you. If you don't believe in the power of presentation or the power of speaking or recording videos, then this event is not for you, for sure. We're the only company who offer 110% money back guarantee, not 100, 110. And I'm proud to say that in 4 years we never got one person to refund. So that's what we're going to take away: the capacity to speak with confidence, to organize talks, to have fun speaking, and to take leadership skills. Because, like I said before, speaking is about leadership. And if you look at the top 3% of leaders in any industry, they're communicating. So I want to help you with that. That's my sole purpose. That's what I live for.
Well, thanks, Roberto, for coming to the community today. One more time, what's the website to register for the event?
Oh, is influencingfromthefront.com, www.influencingfromthefront.com, and the discount coupon you can save $200 is MC capital letters, MC.
All right, Roberto. Thank you. Thank you to the gang on the line. We, of course, are going to post the recording as always. There's so many great takeaways, and a lot of the visuals that Roberto used really connected the dots. I know oftentimes people minimize or move the screen to the second monitor. Watch the video, see the recording, and for those of you that do attend Roberto's event, give the feedback, make an Edge video using that feedback, and let's talk about it. I'd love to hear how you put it into action for you and the mobile app. Thanks, Roberto. Let's talk more soon. Thanks everyone.
Buddy. Appreciate that. Guys, take care. Bye-bye.